Hello there and a very good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us on Superscreen News at 10, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adinike Owoye Ajiboye. President Muhammadu Buhari will leave to the United Kingdom today. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Shehu Garba, has said this in a statement and described the president's trip as an official visit. Shehu said the president would be meeting with some persons, including the British Prime Minister Theresa May, ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meetings. President Buhari's trip is, however, coming more than 1 week ahead of the CHOGM meetings built for between April 18 and 20. The president will also meet the Chief Executive Officer of Royal Dutch PLC, Ben van Beurden, in connection with a Shell and other partners' plan to invest $15 billion in Nigeria's oil industry. Senate President Bukola Saraki says the Senate has officially opposed the decision to approve President Muhammadu Buhari's decision to approve $1 billion for the purchase of security equipment. Saraki said this in Jos during a retreat organized by the Senate Press Corps with the theme Strengthening Executive-Legislature Relations. He noted that the president's approval is without recourse to the National Assembly.
The greatest challenge we have today in our country is security. And you all were there where in the Senate we organized a summit to try as much as possible to sit down with the executive and say, okay, what do you need? Because the challenge we have in security cannot be overcome by just regular issues or regular mundane administrative issues. A serious reform is required in the security sector. And it is an executive-legislative relationship that can drive that. Because there are two major issues. It has to do with reform either being in form of legislation or funding in the form of appropriation. So, there is no way that the security architecture of this country can drastically and significantly be addressed if there is no serious collaboration between the executive and the legislative arm of government. Where there's the issue of providing funding to for equipment in the fight against Boko Haram. In a good environment, by the time those kind of issues are out, everybody should be on the same page. But already there are some members of ours who have already taken positions. Why? Because they feel they were not consulted. So these are the kind of things that, and in the process of that, it makes the eventual goal of what you're trying to achieve more difficult.
The Senate President also spoke on several topical issues, including the alleged looters list released by the federal government and the delay in passage of the 2018 national budget, where he blamed the ministries, departments and agencies of government. Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong, who was represented by the Deputy Governor Sani Gwande, stressed the need for the executive and the legislative arm of government to work together to achieve greater results.
Where unhealthy friction exists in executive-legislative relations, the health of and functional democracy is threatened. To therefore engender good governance that will deliver the dividends of democracy to the citizenry, there is the need for collaborative synergy along constitutionally spelled out responsibilities for the executive and the legislature to deliver on their respective mandates. For us here on the plateau, the executive has a healthy relationship with the legislature, and this has allowed both arms to carry out their statutory functions for the good of the citizens of Plateau State.
Environment where you see someone in the executive standing up and saying that the other arm is partner, because we are the partner of the executive. Somebody gets up and says his partner, He's a thief, he's a looter, he's a this. How? So possible. Let's be realistic. How? So when you collaborate, you are collaborating for the bigger picture, which is the country that we all serve. And that is why, to me, strengthening that relationship is a very, very important responsibility that we must all have.
Senate President Bukola Saraki speaking there on strengthening executive-legislative relationship. And now moving on, the National Executive Committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC, will today at its meeting take a final decision on the tenure of the Oyegun-led National Working Committee. NEC will review the decision it took in February. You will recall that the tenure of Oyegun and other NWC members of the party will come to an end on June 28, 2018. But NEC, at its meeting on February 27, 2018, approved a one-year tenure extension for the party's officials. However, at its meeting on March 27, President Muhammadu Buhari opposed the tenure extension, saying it was illegal. Last week, the APC governors who initially supported the tenure extension backed President Buhari's call for fresh congresses for the party. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has accused the All Progressives Congress, APC, of ridiculing Nigeria's seat of power. In a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Kola Ologbondiyan, the opposition party took a swipe at the ruling party over the recent visit of some northern Christian leaders to President Muhammadu Buhari. You will recall that President Buhari had met with the clergymen on Thursday last week in Abuja, where he denied the allegations that he is religiously biased as the leader of Africa's most populous nation. The PDP, however, alleged that the visit was stage-managed to endorse the president and accused the presidency of procuring individuals who masqueraded as religious leaders. The former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government to adopt a ruthless measure against alleged looters of the nation's treasury. Oshiomhole, who disclosed this to journalists, described as mindless the stealing by the then People's Democratic Party-led federal government. The former governor also said it was the right of Nigerians to know the level of rot in former President Goodluck Jonathan's government. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says some chief executive officers of government agencies are currently being probed for infractions of the Public Procurement Act. Mustafa disclosed this at the 2018 procurement retreat for chief executive officers of federal government agencies in Abuja. The SGF, who was represented by the permanent secretary for General Services, Olusegun Adekunle, said the ICPC and the EFCC are currently investigating cases of infractions of the Public Procurement Act 2007 with the hope of punishing any civil servant found to have colluded with contractors to subvert the rules of the Act. The SGF also warned the CEOs of government agencies not to do business with any contractor who did not have the accreditation of the BPP, adding that compliance with the provisions of the Public Procurement Act 2007 is mandatory. Detained former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki has filed a fresh fundamental human rights enforcement suit before the Federal High Court in Abuja, demanding his unconditional release from the custody of the State Security Service, SSS. Dasuki, who has been detained by the SSS since December 29, 2015, also demanded 5 billion naira as general damages and compensation for the alleged violation of his rights. In the suit filed on March 15, 2018, the former NSA also urged the court to order the 3 respondents to suit to tender a public apology to him in 2 widely published newspapers for the violation of his rights as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I'll still talk a security matter. Senate President Bukola Saraki has visited Offa town in Kwara State, where several persons were killed during a robbery attack on Thursday. You will recall that about 30 robbers had stormed the town on Thursday, raiding 5 commercial banks along the Owode market area of the town in Offa local government area of the state. Following his visit to Offa on Saturday, Saraki called on the Inspector General of Police, IGP Idris Ibrahim, to commiserate with him on the loss of some of his personal belongings during the robbery incident. Saraki urged the IGP to deploy additional police personnel as well as top investigators in the state to help in tracking down the perpetrators of the act. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Idris, has ordered the deployment of personnel officials to Kwara and Taraba states. The Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Jimo Moshood, who discussed this in a statement, said the IGP has given the nod for 3 police mobile force units, high-powered police investigation team, armored personnel carrier APC to the North Central State. This comes 72 hours after 30 heavily armed gunmen hit 5 commercial banks along the Owode market area of the town in Offa local government area of the state, where they killed at least 30 people, including 9 policemen in the unfortunate incident. Ajimo also said the IGP has directed the special forces to Taraba State with a view to apprehending the suspects that have unleashed mayhem on the state. Nigeria will host the leaders of the World Health Organization WHO this week. According to a statement released by the body, Nigeria will host members of the Global Policy Group, a GPG, which is made up of the Director General, Deputy Director General, 6 regional directors, and the Executive Director of who emerges a program. The members are expected to have a meeting from Tuesday to Thursday this week. The discussion will focus mainly on the World Health Organization's technical support to strengthen the country's health system in achieving sustainable development goals within the context of revitalization of universal health coverage. Now, 1 person has been reportedly killed in an explosion which pulled down a story building around more areas in Ile-Ife town in Osun State. The incident was said to have occurred late on Saturday night when an improvised explosive device, IED, exploded in a pharmacy along more roads in the state. An eyewitness explained that a man who was injured was rescued from the back of the building and rushed to the Obafemi Awolowo Teaching Hospital, where he later gave up the ghost. Due to this incident, the community have been thrown into confusion after residents heard the explosion suspected to have emanated from the building in the neighborhood. Meanwhile, only 2 policemen have been sighted at the scene of the incident. You're still watching Superscreen News at 10. We'll take a short break here, after which we'll bring you news from the business world. Do stay. Well, it's so glad to have you back now in business world. The managing director, Dangote Construction Company, Ashif Juma, says the firm will complete the Obajana-Kaba Road in Kogi State by December. According to Juma, the project will be the longest concrete road in the country and will traverse the north and south. Juma also urged the government at all levels to switch over to concrete roads instead of asphalt, as such were far superior, durable and cheaper, and would not require frequent maintenance. The firm also stated that motorists traveling on the road had commended it for the initiative. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, has assigned duties to the newly appointed deputy governors who assumed duty on March 28. The acting director, Corporate Communications Department, CBN, Isaac Okorafor, who discussed this in a statement today, said Aisha Ahmad was deployed to the Financial System Stability Directorate, while Edward Lemetek Adamu was assigned to Corporate Services. Emefiele also approved the deployment of Oku Unana from the Financial System Stability Directorate to the Economic Policy Directorate. According to Okorafor, the affected principal officers have since assumed duty in their new offices. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) says it has updated its outstanding audit of the group financial statement from 2011 to 2016. NNPC spokesman Udu Ugamadu, who discussed this in a statement in Abuja, said the audited backlog had since been approved by the board of the corporation in line with the laws governing its operations. Ugamadu also quoted Isiaka Abdulrazak, Chief Financial Officer and a Group Executive Director of Finance and Accounts, NNPC, saying the presentation of the audited financial statement would help foster a better relationship between NNPC and stakeholders. Ugamadu said the management inherited a total of 65 unaudited financial statements for NNPC Group Corporate and its subsidiaries covering 2011 and 2014. And that's the business news. We'll take another short break here. More news after this time out. Do stay.